for folks. Like, I thought it would be great, but this is better than I thought it would be.
I feel like once you say yes to the Lord, all of a sudden you're like, oh gosh, like, I don't know if I'm qualified enough.
Everyone's like, oh, what's in Tennessee? You got a building, you got people out there. I'm like, no. You have family? No. Who's going with you? I don't know, but we're going to go. The way we said it, we kind of joked around and we would say, there's no such thing as doors. We're building door frames. Like, for somebody else to walk through. Like, that, everyone's like, oh, what's in Tennessee? You got a building, you got people out there. I'm like, no. You have family? No. Who's going with you? I don't know, but we're going to go. And whether it succeeds or whatever it fails, obedience is success. And at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not going to wrestle with God for 6 months over something that like was already in my heart. And then it was like, okay, you want me to go, and this is the time to do that. And it didn't make sense. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Why are we starting a church? Why are we starting something out of our house? And so a lot of conversations about money, and you have to have a bigger reason than this is just your dream, because people will be like, that's cute. Family will maybe give a couple dollars towards your dream. But if this is like solving a problem, if this is making an impact in a city, if this is bringing change to the spiritual afflictions of that land, be okay with not putting things out there that are perfect. I had to die in me as a creative. As a creative, I'm like, I'm putting my name on this. And it doesn't look like it was made in Adobe Photoshop. It looks like it was made on Canva. Yes. It looks like, a Canva template that I just changed the name and left the random girl on the picture. Like, because it's more about inputs than outputs, right? It's more about what I'm putting into this and just being obedient, stewarding what I can with what I could do. And you don't have to be an expert. So I went to Asbury and took a class on church planting. And so I took a church planting course. We flew to ARC and we did the course of the training for it. YouTube is a great resource if you want to be a pioneer in it doesn't have to be church. It could be podcasting, writing a book. Someone's done it. Go and be a student, learn everything you can so that you know kind of what you're walking into. Take the class, the free course, like get a coach. I remember having like multiple coaches during that season. I had a financing coach. I got a coach for fundraising. I just need to teach me how to fundraise. And he was like, okay, create a list of every person you know that would meet with you for coffee. So I wrote a list out of like 20 people. He's like, you need more like 200. I was like, goodness gracious. Okay. So now it's a numbers game, because if I can get 200 people to invest $20 a month, and I'm not telling them to do this for the next 6 months and then I run out of money. I'm asking them to do this for the next 3 to 5 years. Can you give $20 a month, cancel your Disney package, and instead invest in the kingdom of God? And so now I've got over $100,000 to over $200,000 that, because it's a numbers game. And now I know that, okay, and can you guys do this on auto, like just pulling it out? So that way I'm not like stressed at the end of the month. And this cycle, this like emotional cycle. And I would just encourage any pioneer here, like, get scrappy. Do whatever it takes to make an impact.
I want you to just say that where you are. I'm going to get scrappy.
I'm going to get scrappy.
Like this year, just make that, just own it. I'm going to get scrappy. I'm going to get scrappy, because it takes that kind of grind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the grit that you were talking about, right? It takes the grit. And I would say too, like when we talked about obedience, I think some people, when they hear the word obedience, they're like, I don't like that. Or some people are like, yes. But on the other side of that obedience, there's things that are going to have to break off of you. Mm-hmm. There's a new birthing that happens through that. And so just realize it's not actually probably spiritual warfare. Because I think sometimes we're like, the devil is after me. But it's like, no, there was actually just things in you that needed to die in order on the other side of that obedience. But you need that because you're going to grow, and there's going to be new wineskin through that, right? And so we saw that too. We discovered that. We discovered that through that process of, oh, okay, like there was things that we had to let go of.
It's not about perfection. Whatever you're putting out there, like you don't have to be the best. The truth is you're not going to be the best. So I'm just going to say that for anyone who's watching, right? Like your first podcast, your first message you give, it's not going to be the best. There's a huge competitive market for any of those things. There's already great churches out in Nashville for us. So it's like, I'm not going to be the best. So maybe I should change the rules of the game. Maybe it's not about perfection. Maybe it's just about progress. Maybe it's not about outputs. Maybe it's about inputs. Maybe it's not about results. It's about reps, right? And if I can get more people to who don't know about Photoshop, but they're going to do Canva for me, I'm like, that's a win. because that's one less thing that I have to be doing. And now I'm stewarding something that's in you. And get rid of the idea of like they have to look a certain way to be on your team, because God will send you some of the most interesting bags of people, right?
Listen, California will kind of do that too, I have to say. Like, and I love California. California will kind of make you real superficialish. You'd be like, you know, girl, your boots don't match you. Like, what? Why you got on that? You're like, or whatever, you know. And it's just, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. California is amazing. It's beautiful. Also, there's a high value on aesthetics. And sometimes that translates to people, unfortunately. And all of a sudden, you will overlook someone who's carrying exactly what you need because they didn't come in with all buttoned up, all polished, right? But it's exactly who God sent your way to help get the thing done.
Exactly.
So I actually feel like, man, this is so much has been said that even there are points that you could dive in on. Like, this is like a whole class. This is like a 6-week class here.
Maybe we do a pioneering panel.
Maybe we do a pioneering panel. Maybe we do a pioneering
Angelica.
Something. And but I love that he said, listen, you're not going to be the best. When you start, you're not going to be the best. Sometimes we think that pioneering is choosing between pioneer or be lazy for the rest of your life. Pioneer or be lethargic. Pioneer or stay stuck. But sometimes pioneer is the other choice that's presented next to greatness. Be pioneers or be great. And a lot of people say, I'm not going to choose pioneer. I'm always going to choose be great, because I always got to look great, be the best, be buttoned up. I'm never putting out a Canva graphic. I'm never putting out a clip art this. If that's what pioneering is, I'm going to choose great every time. And we built systems year after year, decade after decade about being great, right? We refine our systems, our on-ramps, our simulations, our parking lots, our service flow, getting better and better and greater and greater and greater and greater. And then the Lord is like, I appreciate all this greatness, but now I want you to pioneer. And it's not going to be great. It's not going to be great.
Or instead of pioneering, you choose to say somebody else is number 2. And you never pioneer.
Right.
Because you are afraid of it not being perfect. So you'd rather somebody else be responsible for the look, the feel, and you not have to take any ownership of anything.
For folks, like, I thought it would be great, but I didn't, but this is better than I thought it would be. I literally, I'm not happy. I really feel like we definitely need to do at least a part 2. So Brooke and James, thank you so much for taking time to chat with us.